Hi friends, here the question is about what is the nature of the roots of ax square plus bx plus c when a, b, c all three are greater than 0. Ideally we should understand what what will happen to the roots when a, b, c are positive or negative or anything. Okay, so there are two ways of solving this problem. One is going by the algebraic way by looking at our roots minus b plus or minus under root b square minus 4ac by 2a, see how they behave. The other is going by the graphical way. Let's look at both of these options, both of these ways, right? So now for an equation ax square plus bx plus c, these are the roots, right? In this, a is greater than 0, b is greater than 0, c is greater than 0. What does that mean? B is greater than 0, a is also greater than 0. That means b by 2a is greater than 0. That means minus b by 2a is negative. Okay? And plus under root b square minus 4ac by 2a. 2a is always positive. Okay, so now let's see what will happen to this b square minus 4ac. It can be greater than 0, equal to 0, or less than 0. If it is equal to 0, firstly, then this entire part will become 0. B square minus 4ac equal to 0, this entire part will become 0. Both the roots will be negative. Here, in this case, both roots negative, right? Both roots negative in this case. Now, if b square minus 4ac is less than 0, then what will this become? Negative plus or minus complex I into something. Negative plus or minus complex part, right? Because b square minus 4ac is less than 0, we will get roots like something like minus 2 plus or minus 3i or minus 4 plus or minus 7i or whatever, root 7i, whatever. Okay, b square minus 4ac is less than 0. This part will definitely be complex and it will have a real part. So both roots are complex conjugates of each other and both roots will have negative real part. Both roots negative real part. Okay, this is clear. Both roots will have negative real part. Now b square minus 4ac is greater than 0. Okay, if b square minus 4ac is greater than 0, then we'll get one root as negative plus positive and negative plus negative minus negative, right? B square minus 4ac, if this is greater than 0, for example, what we'll get, then we'll get root something like minus 2 minus 2 plus or minus, for example, root 3. Okay, if b square minus 4ac is not a perfect square, or we'll get something like minus 2 plus or minus 5 or minus 2 plus or minus 1. Anything can happen, right? Now, now let's look at this closely again. B square and 4ac. B square minus 4ac. That means 4ac both are positive. That means b square minus 4ac is definitely less than b square. Right. So under root of this will definitely be less than b. Right. Under root of b square minus 4ac will definitely be less than b. Right. What does that mean? Minus b plus or minus under root b square minus 4ac by 2a. Right. So there is minus b. Okay. Minus b, so for example, b is 5, minus 5 plus or minus b square minus 4ac is lesser than 5. Okay. So let's say it is something like 4. Minus 4, minus 5 plus or minus 4 by 2a. So that means we'll get both roots as negative. Right. Here we'll get both roots as negative because negative plus some negative. Okay, in negative plus some, we are getting negative number, that is minus b plus or minus again a positive number which is smaller than absolute value of b. Right, we are getting b square minus 4ac, b square minus 4ac, because 4ac is positive. It should be b square minus 4ac should be less than b square. That means root of b square minus 4ac is less than root of b square. That means root of b square minus 4ac is lesser than b. Okay. is lesser than b. So for example, if b is 5, okay, b square minus 4ac will be somewhere like 3 or 2 whatever. Okay. Now minus b, which is minus 5, plus or minus b square minus 4, 4ac, that is 3. So in this case, one root will be minus 8, another root is minus 2. Because 3 is lesser than 5, okay, the sum of minus 5 plus or minus 3 will both be negative. Okay, this is one case. If okay, so in both cases, even if it is a perfect square, b square minus 4ac is a perfect square, or it is not a perfect square, the both roots will be negative. Okay, but if this is not a perfect square, then what we'll get? We'll get something like minus 5. We'll get roots like minus 5 plus or minus root 7, root 3 or whatsoever. B square minus 4ac. If it is not a perfect square, we'll get irrational numbers minus 5 plus or minus root 7. Okay. Then also both roots are negative. Okay. So uh, this is the algebraic way. Now let's just look at the graphical way. Okay, something like this. This graphical way, ax square plus bx plus c. Okay. Now a is greater than 0. What does that mean? The graph will face upwards. Okay, will open upwards. Why? Why? Because a is greater than 0. When x is particularly large, these two terms will become much smaller than this. For example, when x is 100 or 1000, these two terms will be smaller than ax square term. So as x becomes large, x square is always positive, a is positive, so the graph will remain positive. Okay, a is greater than 0. What does that mean? Means graph will face upwards. It will face upwards. A is less than 0 means graph will face downwards. Okay. This is first point. Now, for ax square plus bx plus c. Okay, we know the vertex of this parabola. This is a parabola, right? Is minus b by 2a. Okay, vertex is the lowest point if it is facing upwards and highest point if it is facing downwards. Right. Now, minus b by 2a. B is positive, a is positive. That means minus b by 2a is negative. Right. Minus b by 2a is negative. That means this graph, whatever, the vertex is towards the left of y-axis. Is towards the left of y-axis, right? Because this is negative. This is negative number. To the right of y-axis, it is the x's are positive. To the left of y-axis, x's are negative. So that's why this graph is towards the left of y-axis. So b is greater than 0. So first, that is good. Now we don't know whether x-axis is here, that we don't know. Okay. Now c is greater than 0. C is greater than 0. That means, so what is C? C is when x equal to 0, the graph is touching y-axis at C. Okay? The graph will touch y-axis at C. This is this point C. That means C is definitely above origin. Okay. So then x-axis can be like this or x-axis can be like this. Okay. So now what that means is, let's say if this is x-axis, this is x-axis, y-axis, the graph can be like this. The graph can be like this, or the graph can be like this. Okay, in both cases, it is touching y-axis in at a positive value. It is not touching below y-axis. So, whatever is the case, the graph cannot be like this. Okay, when x equal to 0, so that c is negative. C is negative, right? C is less than 0. So this graph is clearly not possible. Okay, this graph is clearly not possible because why? This graph is touching y-axis at a negative value, but c is positive. So this is not possible. The graph can be like this, or the graph can be like this also. It can touch, it can touch the x-axis at this point, but still touch y-axis at a positive value. Okay. So now in all the three cases, so these are the three cases. In this case also, this what is this case? This is the case where b square minus 4ac is less than 0. That means this doesn't have real roots. It has complex roots. And complex roots, the vertex minus b by 2a is still negative, right? This is the case where we have complex roots. But the vertex is negative. That means both roots have negative real part. Okay. This is the case where both roots are equal. That means b square minus 4ac is equal to 0. Both roots are equal and the vertex has to be negative and vertex is on the x-axis. That means both roots are negative. This is that case. What is this case? In this case, again, both roots are negative. Both are different roots. Right. This is the case where b square minus 4ac is greater than 0. Okay. Both roots are different, but both roots have to be negative. Okay, that means this the product of both negative numbers is a positive number. Product of roots. Product of roots is what? C by A, right? C by A should be positive. The product of this and this number, both are negative numbers. That's why C by A is actually positive. Okay, but if the graph was something like this, that means one root is positive, one root is negative, another root is positive. Okay, and C will be negative. So C by A will be negative, which is what this is about, right? One root is positive, one root is negative. So the product is actually negative. So this is not possible. When C is positive, that means the graph can be like this only. The graph can be like this, or like this, or like this. Okay. So now you can ask, why can't the graph be like this? If C is positive, then both roots are, why can't both roots be positive? Because in this case, minus b by 2a is positive. In this case, minus b by 2a, because this is positive axis, right? It has to be positive. But in our case, this is not positive. In our case, it is negative. So this graph is ruled out. Right, guys? Very simple problem. What we have done is greater than 0. That means graph is facing upwards. Then the vertex of the graph is towards the left side of y-axis because vertex is negative. Right? So the graph can be like this, or like this, or like this. Right? And in C is positive. That means the graph is touching y-axis at the on the positive side, positive y-axis. It is not touching negative y-axis. It was touching negative y-axis means the product of the roots is negative. That means one of the root has to be positive, another root has to be negative. Right. If the product of roots is positive, that is C by A is positive, obviously both roots have to be negative. Right. If both roots are different, they have to be negative. If both roots are same, then also both have to be negative. And if both roots are complex, then the vertex or the real part should be negative. Right, guys? This is the geometric interpretation or geometric way of looking at this problem. Algebraic way is purely algebra. You can just by looking at the signs of b square minus 4ac, we can say whether the roots are positive or negative. Right, guys? Hope you like this. Thank you.